Mild trigger, but and we can do meditations based on triggers at some point. But so I feel like I'm kind of a little bit repetitive in this first part I want to say. And I guess I'll say this in complete honesty. I'm not necessarily new to meditation. I'm new to leading them. My very first one earlier today, and it's not even super late in the day, was actually pretty good. And it was kind of, in my I feel like it was. And maybe you'll agree. And it was about, I don't know if I titled it Virtual Vacation, but it was on today's date, which is um, May 1st, actually. And I don't know also why when I'm looking through the menus on YouTube, when you're setting up a video, sometimes it bounces to the bottom. This is kind of a kid's guitar. I don't know, it's one that was donated to a donation center, and maybe the spirit touched it. And my other one, I believe, is upstairs, and I don't know. It's just the one I saw and decided to put into the still. I'm using a laptop, so I don't know how to take a picture with it, but I can use this as the thumbnail. And hopefully, well, if I'm in it, I'm in it. Although I did think if a particular someone that comes to mind sees this and decides to watch it, hopefully, maybe they will have a different opinion, because sometimes we can be wrong about people, who have a good heart and can bring so much healing and laughter and such. And I'm just thinking, I don't want to get too into it, but I'm just thinking of a time when I was misjudged. And as we get a like, so welcome. I don't see it saying viewing yet, but anyway. So I've also been getting a lot into improv. So this is improvised. And part of me thinks, because the thing of the matter is, if I did it with a script, and if you ever show this in a group or whatever that you're in, or for your class or whatever, you can skip to when it starts. But if I did it with a script, then I might not follow it. This is the thing. I might start to and then kind of veer off from it, or might lose my place on the line, and my eyes might, you know. And I mean, you can do that silently and then get yourself back onto it. But the other thing about this is, and I explained it in the video just before this, and I'm going to put this down now because it's got the still, which is really what I was trying to create with it. I don't really want to do necessarily a whole lot with this at the moment. But the other part of it is that I don't know if I should just repeat it. I feel fairly energetic at the moment, and then I'll get into the relaxed state again when we start the meditation. Basically, playing it out of the same device that I'm recording it with distorts it, the audio, or muffles it at least, which is, I guess, distortion. Um, I was trying to utilize a tablet. It worked in the one video, which, like I say, was kind of imagining being in the countryside, meditation, and getting away from your stresses, which, I mean, yeah, kids go through them because they live amongst adults, but I don't know, like, I wouldn't say it's not for kids. I wouldn't say that there's anything in it that should make it not for kids. But I don't know if they'd be able to. I don't know if they'd be able to relate. But if you happen to show it to your kid, or your kid or teen, who maybe you feel could benefit from meditation, and maybe you listen to it yourself first, and then you think, I know someone, I don't know, or you show it to your class or whatever. I'd be very curious to hear your feedback about that. About. I mean, I know it'd be a lot to comment on. You could just say in a very, to summarize in general, most of them felt this or something to that effect, or you can be as specific as you like. I don't mind. I'll take the time to read your comments. But and perhaps, people are seeing, a little bit more effort. I mean, honestly though, I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but I would say that I'm trying to use more creativity, and I'm learning the YouTube settings a little bit better, perhaps. So settle in. And yeah, so that was essentially saying, and then for me, and I don't want to count this out because in the video just before this, I said how I need to have the program that I'm using to play these music in. I mean, sure, I could use YouTube, I guess, if I really had to, but for my own practice. But I need to have. I don't want people to see this and ask me questions, about doing something with it. That was 3 seconds in. Who did I accidentally call? Then I think need to have it working on here. So I don't want to try and attach this to Bluetooth with this particular program. And I'm going to let it get me in the mode. So your options are you can either use no sound and just hear me, or you can use another device, find some instrumental relaxation music, either ahead of time or in the moment, I guess, whichever. And then we'll start. Oh, and I have to remember what my theme was, of course. Like I said earlier, I try to at least for the most part connect it to my. I think I have enough ability, and I know it's not the first time I've thought about leading meditation groups, or that I've been to them, and yeah, it's mileage or something, but some things, but okay, so I'm gonna hop into this. It is 11:33. So I'm thinking she'll probably, but she might be interested. Like, oh, he's never done a meditation one before, and I'm curious how focused he'll be, or I don't know. But I have a feeling, for the next half hour, certain person I'm thinking of wouldn't be available anyway because, most people take their lunch at noon at work. She's got a trip in a couple of days, but so she might be taking a couple of days off beforehand. Either way, welcome. I just said a whole spiel, so I don't want to necessarily repeat myself, but I do apologize, and these are only going to get better. It's just going to be my voice. You can add music in the background on a different device, or not. Now, the topic is school days, and I realize for some that and the person left, but that's what the title said too, unless they didn't read it. Because I can say, oh, some people they don't read. But I mean, I'm guilty of that too sometimes, or not reading fully, Now, knowing how attentive I can be to that, and knowing that things are a little bit messy around me, I think I am going to cover the screen at this time. Of course, you can close your eyes too. Such a complex character. Just telemarketing, good thing I have it muted. So everybody, I welcome you to relax. Close your eyes if you wish to be able to relax and focus more. If you're doing this in a group, there will inevitably be sounds, people moving, people, one thing to realize is that not every sound really has to have much meaning attached to it. For instance, if someone was to cough or clear their throat, that latter one sometimes can be used to kind of get someone's attention about something. But just try to follow the sound of my voice and your breathing. Some people may think that meditations go on so much about breathing. Like, why do you have to tell us to breathe? Well, there is something, and there's an interesting video that I posted. There is actually something to focused deep breathing, or at least just focused breathing. And I'm not going to tell you how to breathe because that's a pet peeve of mine. I'll just tell you to breathe. I will try not to laugh too much in this, but basically, yeah. I mean, some people will say breathe through your nose and out your mouth. Breathe naturally. Sometimes it'll be through your nose and out your nose. Sometimes it'll be mouth. Sometimes it'll be both. That's fine. No judgment. Now, if our viewers are watching this in a class setting, you won't have to imagine as much. Know that we're all human. It's okay to feel, and it's okay for others to see us feel, for the most part. So as long as you're in a supportive environment, then you have that knowing. If you are in a class, perhaps think about something from your school day so far. If you're not in class or aren't currently in school and possibly haven't been for a while, I invite you to think of either choosing your favorite school memory and the first one that comes to mind, or your favorite, or perhaps something that is troubling you about your current school days or school days of your past. And we will help heal. We can heal. We all want to be accepted, appreciated, seen, heard, and loved. If you do not feel that you have that in your life, know that you have it from me. I may be a stranger on the internet, but I'm a very caring and loving one. I am one who has known hardships. Most of us do. Some more than others. I can't say for certain what age group I'm reaching in this. So I'm just going to kind of do a range. If you are between the ages of 7 and 12. If you're younger than that, go home. You get to leave school early today. Just kidding. I just don't know if I should start younger than that with this. If you're between the ages of 7 and 12, what has been your favorite thing about your school year so far? Think of the feelings you felt, the people you were with, and do feel free to put that in the comments. Not saying necessarily put names, but first names maybe, or just what you were doing, what you were feeling. And if you aren't able to comment in the moment, for whatever reason, you're welcome to come back and do so. If you do comment in the moment, I'm not sure if it's just our devices or not, but live chat only shows while live. I will try to address it after I do this meditation while live. If you are between the ages of 12 and 16. Again, realizing that everybody is different. Same question. And if you're between the ages of 16 to 19, same question. Doesn't look like everybody news come in, so I won't repeat it. But I will slightly alter it for anybody who is of the college, university age. And if you have not been able to take college or university, I understand you, and I understand those difficulties. And I want to remind you and anybody listening to this that even though some things you should most definitely have a degree for, too many things seem to require it, or seem to be very lazy about offering training. And some things may be easy and don't need a lot of training. For whatever reason, you may be struggling to get employment. But if you do have employment or you are in school, what is something that you really cherish and appreciate about this time in your life? Speaking to the previously mentioned demographic for a moment, though, if that is something that you're struggling with, again, I hear you, I feel your pain. You probably have a lot to offer, I'm quite certain. And this is also for anybody who is younger. I mean, it's not, just because I can't say that there won't be, um, you know. Um, and I want to say to you that although life can be really good and things can come with great ease, I won't sugarcoat it and say that it for sure will. So, this is a reminder to feel gratitude for what you do have, to remember to give yourself and others love and kindness and acceptance and understanding. To know that things can change positively, even on a dime, and your circumstance may change. You might get a scholarship and not have to pay a whole lot back. You might get a good job and then be able to afford it so that maybe you can live another dream job that you have that would require a degree. And the hardest part can be thinking, I learned well and easy. I'm smart. I'm efficient. I have a good work ethic. I like this topic. I don't really feel like I need to spend a bunch of years in college or university. Speaking to what I relate to, especially. I don't have the money. You may find yourself thinking, well, I am in school, college, university, or younger. And again, reminding yourself of what you like about it. However, if you have any pain, any hard feelings that you are having, sit with those. Sit with those. You are strong. Maybe you've experienced bullying. Maybe you've enabled a bully and feel bad about it. Maybe you weren't there for someone in your school who you want to be there for, who you feel needs a friend. Or are remembering somebody from your school days. Perhaps that somebody is you. How can you be your friend when you feel alone? What kinds of positive things can you tell yourself about yourself, about your life, perhaps even about the future that you'd like to see for yourself? Not noticing anybody here right now to be thinking on all that stuff I said, because I'm not hugely needing to go upstairs for anything. Sorry for that interruption. Okay. I'm going to focus a bit more on if there might be viewers, because if so, I think I want to see how this might be reaching. I again welcome you to ground yourself into breathing. Now, I realize that if this is for the younger age groups, we may be reaching, I can't remember how much of an intro there was in this, we may be reaching your capacity time-wise for this meditation. There's nobody here at the moment, so I'm not winding it up for anybody else but you. And you're special and a great bunch of people, individually and as a class. Perhaps you'd like to take a moment to think about your favorite teachers or the teacher that is showing you this and what you like about them. I do realize that I'm going through some of this fast, so of course you can watch this from home and take your time more with it and pause it and think and start again. One thing that I'd kind of like to do is talk a bit about my school days. Talk a little bit about teachers that I remember. I'm tempted to start with CAC, but I don't think I will. I don't know. Crafts, games, movies, enjoying lunch with each other, standing up for each other and for yourself when needed. Any funny memories? Did you ever have a teacher that brought in music to class? Whether that be their own musical instrument or instruments? And what did you think of those times? How did you feel? Regardless of your age, but as we get older, we may find, unfortunately, that we will lose more people in our lives. whether through fallouts or heaven. But their spirits will always be with us, watching us, trying to guide us, if you so choose to believe. And isn't that comforting? As much as it also can bring mixed feelings and sadness sometimes. I'd like to take a moment to remember Miss Phillips. Did you ever have a favorite project in school? Perhaps you worked on it by yourself. Perhaps you were part of a group. I'm thinking of one where, and I was going to start this in high school, but I'm going further back. I'm thinking of grade 4, doing a project about Egypt. I may not remember my teacher, Mrs. Phillips, strongly after about 25 years, 30 years. But sometimes we remember our teacher's kindness and patience, our teacher valuing us in our contributions to their classrooms, or something that we did while they were our teacher. Did you ever have a teacher that liked to storytell or tell a lot of pun or silly jokes? What was it like for you as you finished grade school, if you have? And if you're of the age where a lot of people have and you have not, how does that make you feel? I can imagine perhaps a little bit embarrassed, a little bit sad, but you are not alone. What is still good in your life? Or what can you make it so? Meaning, what can you do for yourself to bring yourself happiness? What can you do with others to help you feel happy? Because although happiness and love has to be within, others can totally help us to feel it. I'd like to take a moment to not only think about teachers, although you could say that they kind of are. What about tutors? What about guidance counselors? Suzette, if you're listening to this, that's a unique name, and if you're from Ontario, please comment if you see this. Perhaps you spent a lot of time at the principal's office. Or do. How does that make you feel? Or what do you think of it now? Now, everybody is allowed to have their interpretations, of course, but I believe what I've done with this is kind of base it on that was grade school. So now, if you'd like to stay with us, although currently nobody's here, so a couple people may have been, but one or two people. But I'm going to take us to high school. Share a little bit about my school days. Not mine yet, but just the camera. And perhaps make you think about yours. And again, realizing, they can go with that one. I've done it before, actually. And again, realizing that some memories will be good, other memories may be difficult. If you want to further explore those things, I think I would actually recommend listening to what's already been said in this one again later. I'm sorry I don't want to repeat it, but if you've watched this far and nobody's currently here, then you very likely have heard it. And if you're watching this by yourself, you can go back to that point and I can timestamp it for you if you'd like. Just ask. Not used to hearing so much of this music through the day. I don't know, where is the speaker for this device? Like if I don't know where I'd place the headphones to pick up on it. That's the camera. To pick up what's playing in the headphones. Certain headphones you can play out quite loudly and they will hear it will hear, but I think I'm going to do this not to music now because I'm used to that stuff when sleeping and it's making me feel a little bit lightheaded, personally. So I'll do a little bit more, though. Okay. So, in my high school days, personally, well, yeah, there was grades, that's right. But I, for whatever reason, do not remember the grades as by specific teachers as much so as I do like classes. I don't know if I really want to get into every single class, and the track wasn't doing it anymore anyway. But there was something that made me think a little bit about the woodworking class. Now, it wasn't my best subject, but I didn't mind it. What I liked most is that we had a teacher who was musical, and he let a few of us come in on the lunch hour while others were working on projects, or sometimes not, and jam. We put together a little band. Mostly only played at school things like the talent shows, the fashion shows, and the talent shows mostly just at the intermission. Were you in a band? Either a rock band or like what did you play? What did you play? Do you still play it if you're older? If not, why not? And would you like to? I feel like I'm gonna have the radio on. It's too quiet in here. I almost can't think if it's quiet, but then it's also hard when it's not sometimes. If you have seen this from the beginning, I also encourage you, any questions that anything that was said that was especially powerful or thought provoking for you, repeat it now. as best as you can. If you are struggling with what to feel, what to think, or how to heal, if you've ever experienced bullying in school, I have a perhaps unique suggestion. Or if you've been one, perhaps, which is, and if you look at the image kind of skipped a bit there, which is perhaps take your creativity. I think that we all have it, but some of us access it more or wish to. But it might be an important part of your healing. And I should also state that if you're getting any benefit from this and you appreciate it to the point where you want to make a donation, I hope that you might do so. Um, that's where I'm assuming she has most of the free time. Um, yeah, that you might do some creative writing, maybe even from both sides, through the eyes of the bully and through the eyes of you, vis-a-vis. And what do you learn from doing that? Feel free to give it a try and let me know. And if you are of college or university age and you're have or are working on your degree, how's that going for you? Well, are there challenges? How did you decide what degree to take? Was it an easy decision, a hard one? Because, like Ian said, ironically in the inhaler video, feel free to check that out. It was just a few days ago. And as I'm realizing in my life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to achieve it. Um, Sometimes it'll be really hard to get ahead if you don't have a degree. With a degree comes a job title. A lot of the times, sometimes you have a degree, but you end up in a different type of job, and sometimes under whatever the word is. But my hope for you and for me is that you're in a job that you love, whether you got into it because you have a degree or not, and feel free to say what it is, or you just, the right person believed in you, got you opportunities, helped you get foots in the door. It can be very powerful. And I probably have had in my past, maybe quite distant past, but hopefully in the future as well. I might want to wrap this up before somebody else tunes in, or before somebody tunes in. Nobody's here right now. Otherwise, I might keep the conversation going. I'm feeling pretty relaxed, but I am kind of tired, and I should eat a bit better today. Just the when I was making coffee, and I don't think so. No. So I'll just wrap this up, perhaps. I just did a series of three little meditation videos. There are three meditation videos just today. I don't know if I need to say particulars about them, but it's interesting. And this is the same with practice and rehearsing. So sometimes it's not our fault. We can practice or study as much as we want, or we can, be as talented as we are. And, you still might flub. That's why I like the idea of a script as a prep. You still might flub and mess up, not to make anybody anxious, with that kind of stuff. But, and I wouldn't necessarily say that that's what I did with these meditations. But if I had to say in order which ones I thought were the best, I would say the first one, which would be, I guess, 3 down from this, same day, like I say. I forget the title at the moment, but it said something about for the body, mind, and soul in the title. Which, I mean, that makes sense for meditation, doesn't it? Then I would say this one. And hopefully you might get a chance to watch all three at some point in the next few days or next week or two or something like that, hopefully before too long. And I'd be curious if you agree. And I think that's obvious. I'm possibly also asking why you agree or disagree. But I mean, I hope that we can focus on the positives with our comments. And it's easy for criticisms to seem negative. I don't want to say that I can't take them, but I feel pretty good about doing these. And even if they haven't been seen by a lot of people yet, I think they've helped me, and I hope that they've done some positive things for you. But yeah, I would say the first one, and then this one, and then the middle one were the best. And the middle one, it's partly because there was some technical issues. I don't even remember everything from all of them really, including the middle one. The middle one seems most vague to me, which might make sense then that I sure, I could focus on all the things that I could have done better, but at the moment it's all just a blur. But at the same time, yeah, I would say maybe there's something to the fact that that one doesn't stand out as much, but maybe you'll enjoy it. So let me know. I thank you for your time and for doing this with me, and I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day, evening. Get some sleep if you should be sleeping right now, and it's bedtime. And I'll see you again sometime soon. Take care.